Bless His holy name. I know I want to first thank everybody that comes in and join. I want to thank you for liking and subscribing, following. I also want to thank you, for anyone that donate to the channel. I use that to help other people. Um, and I just want to say thank you. I want to thank everybody that comes back and watches videos. And I definitely want to thank the new followers, new subscribers. Thank you so much for joining. I want to talk a little bit about this morning about how that I'm talking about Donald, how that he liked to mess with other people's wives. People that we were in the church with, he was fooling with their wives too. I just want to bring that up. It's sad, but I'm just sorry. I feel sorry for the, women or men or whoever, that he laid with. Well, I know he laid with. I know each person. You know, um, buy him things, impress him and stuff like that. And that's called love bombing. Make him feel like he that person. And it's sad when you that uh, know people that know you that also slept with him. Which, like I said, a lot of people don't have high IQ, nor do they have morals, nor do they honor that marriage or relationship with somebody else to feel like they can, sleep with somebody else's husband. Um, I want to talk about how that I don't know if I may touch on a little bit about how they hire private investigators. If there's somebody that no information on them, they will either murder them, set them up to go to prison for nothing. Innocent people go to prison for nothing. Just like, okay, for instance, with me, how they tried to set me up to go to a mental institution. So they couldn't get that together because, see, everything they do is fraud and lies. That's how they build their case on lies and fraud. And I want to say this to the private investigators that work with them. You all going to prison too. Don't think you're going to get off. And you all going to be named and you're going to be a part of it. You're not going to get away because you help them set up people, innocent people. They do the fraudulent work. Like Donald, have people working with him. He working with them. I would go. But they are actually set up innocent people in jail right now because of them. Because they get the private investigator. The private investigator dig up stuff and all kind of stuff. And that's sad is these people are sorry, dirty bastards. Yes, I said it, y'all. Sorry, dirty bastards. To set up innocent people to go to jail. And then you got, remember y'all, I said you have the corrupt judges, the corrupt lawyers that help. Because they mainly target the people that, have information on them. People know them, they'll target them. But, the thing about it, it's going to be a public downfall. All these people, it's going to be a public downfall. Because, see, they've been doing this for decades. They feel like they got away with it. But the thing about it, when they start coming after me and getting worse and worse and, trying to isolate me in my own house and then lying and acting like I'm, some people they had funerals for. And the people wasn't even dead. The people were still alive. They did that for insurance money. They would go to any level for insurance money. They'll set a house on fire for insurance money. They would try to get next to people that have some type of inheritance and, love bomb them, act like they love them, just to get money from them. Their whole purpose is to scam and scheme people. They'll date, I guess they call it a gold digger. They're gold diggers. They never have enough. I don't care how much money they get from a person. They still looking for their next victim, and they've been doing this forever. And it's sad when the law that supposed to support and, help the people how they help the criminals. So I just want to get out here today and just explain that to you all. And they stage events too. My sister Nettie, she worked with somebody named Lewis, and they staged event. Her and Donald was on the phone. Donald wanted half of her money. She got mad. She hung up on him. You know, um, these people are disgusting. I'm not staging no event, getting paid no $4,000. For the job. This is just sick. Their mind is just unbelievable. When God begin to reveal things to you, and you sit back and you always try to think the best of people, but then I'm learning people are not good people at all. Whether family, so-called friends, anything. Yeah, people I was nice to. They slept. They actually was in a private relationship with my husband. He didn't have lots of private relationships, which don't even matter, because I knew it was trash anyway. But I had to do what I had to do, so I can do what, I had to go through what I went through so I can help other people, you know, detect these kind of people so they don't get those kind of people in their lives. And you're going to run across people with no value, no morals. They'll do anything. Try to look like they're something they're not. And then what bad part about it, people you've been around, he'll talk about me to them. And then they'll believe what he say, like I'm this bad person. But everything he was saying, he had to find a way to get in between the women's legs or the man booty or however they do that. I don't know, y'all. I don't know anything about that. I just hear what people say. But it's just sad that people don't have no more. People don't respect nobody else's marriage. You know, um, it's sad because now all that, you know, great is their fall. If people, because I don't say anything, I treat people with love because I'm not caught up in all that. I'm not a person that got to have a bunch of people. Like sleeping with a bunch of people. I don't do that because I see it like this here. You want to protect yourself. You don't want to, be with somebody and they sleeping around with every time Tom, Dick, and Harry. And then what's funny, the people that call themselves, in a private relationship with them, they think that they got something and, he's still sleeping around with men and women. So that's them because you know what? They share them diseases. That's them. HIV is real. AIDS is real. Gonorrhea is real. Syphilis is real. These are things you can't get rid of. You have to take medicine. You know, um, and it's a sad when a person that ignorant that they just go sleep with him. They don't use a rubber. They just sleep with anybody. Now he used a rubber with my sister. Uh, yeah, my blood sister. She sleeps around with her sister's husband. And then she worked witchcraft too. She worked witchcraft to get the men. That's how she get them. She can't get none on her own. She have to work witchcraft to get a man. That's the sick part about her. Same way my husband, same way. Well, Donald, I don't want to call my husband because I don't want to associate with that kind of trash. People that does scams and schemes, and try to get over. But Nettie is, she does this, what is called a staging events. That's what I call them. And she get paid for it. And what she's doing is illegal. I'm not going to go in on it too much, but her name is Nettie Holmes. So I want to put that out there. So that way they'll know exactly what sister I'm talking about. She did with some guy named Lewis. Lewis' name was on the check, the $4,000 check. And she the one was doing like, we talked to her and stuff, and she know like with me, I'm against all kind of crime. I don't believe in setting other people up. I live right. I don't believe in getting even with people, because I feel like God will take care of them. So I don't have to get even with them. But she believes in getting even. And for a sister to sleep with her sister husband, that's some sick stuff. That's a sick person. And she thinks she's doing something, but God, look her. She got a son that's got life in prison. People don't realize what you do affect your children. You curse your kids. This is why I live right. I live right because I know you live any kind of way, it affects your kids, your grandkids. And people wonder why they life. And they be so busy blaming somebody else, but no, it's them. They had now, I don't, we're talking about other people doing witchcraft, but she was doing witchcraft and still is. She's doing witchcraft on me, my husband, and my children. Well, Dom, I don't want to say. Y'all forgive me for saying husband because I don't like saying that because I don't want to associate myself with that. But from time to time you hear me switch it up because I don't want to associate nothing with that. This is why I go by my last name Holmes now because I don't want to associate with him. His name Donald Meeks, Donald Godfrey Meeks Sr. out of Jetersville, Virginia. I don't know if he still lives in Jetersville or he lived somewhere else, but that's where he was when we was together in October 2025. I just wanted to say that y'all just be careful with people out here because they trying to set people up to go to jail for crimes they didn't even commit. And this is why I thank God that I don't have any record. And let me not just tell y'all that they will find out what job you work and they will get you fired too. This is how jealous and envy, these people, mainly him, so jealous. And I would see that and I would, still try to be nice to this person. Well, I was nice to him. But sometimes I had to speak up, He would go trying to video and all kind of stuff behind my back, all kind of stuff. That's because he's miserable on the inside himself. You have people that miserable like him that does stuff like that to make themselves feel good. To me, that's a sign of ignorance, that you would go that far to video people, and compromising positions as well. You know what I mean? Or, in your private bedroom and stuff. People do stuff like that. And you don't even know they be them doing that stuff and they're putting it on dark web. So that's how, I said that's how insecure they of themselves and they have a low IQ. To me, people do stuff like that has a low IQ. They think they're smart, but they have a low IQ. Just like people hack your computers. They have a low IQ because low IQ people do stuff like that. Genius don't do nothing like that. Genius, they build up people. They don't try to tear down people, but, low IQ people do. Because they got to talk about you, go around saying this or that about you. But then when they saying all that about you, they actually talking about themselves. Everything they saying that you doing, y'all, excuse me, going through the weather, when the weather change, I change, or, go through different things, even with going through elevations. When God takes you through elevations, your body go through changes as well. And then plus you deal with people that, sin in witchcraft, but it goes back to them. But God have to let you know what they're doing. So then when, he said, hey, they sin in witchcraft. All they doing is working witchcraft, because that's all they know how to do. Because, see, they've been doing this for decades, and they think now it's working, but it's not working. Because God is throwing a cover off of everything they're doing, all the crimes that they committed. They rape children. They traffic children. They traffic women. They kill people. Serial killers. Him and the woman, they're serial killers. Um, she'll try to hide behind the man. No, but she's a serial killer too, not just him. I'm sure at some point she's gonna try to send him to jail, but she's just as much at fault as he is. Both of them fault. No one, no greater other. Both of y'all kill people. So, they will try, people will try to get off and say, oh, I'm going to rat on this person. I'm going to rat on that person. I don't care if they rat on somebody or not. They still need to get time for it. Oh, I want to make a deal. But they still need to get time for it. I mean, serious time. Because these crimes are serious. When you try to date people and you make their life a living hell because you evil. Because you jealous. They get jealous. And, he on the down low. So a lot of times people don't understand men on the down low, they trying to hide it. Their private, they many private lives. But that's mainly one of the people on down low. They will not tell nobody they on down low. But some of their friends know they on down low. Or, like the trans that he's dating, the trans want to come out. He don't want to come out. Because, see, he done put out this image like he this good guy. And, this is the funny part. He was been cheating the whole time. But he running around acting like he's single. And then hanging out, like with other women and stuff like that, walking around with them, like, and it's just sick. It's a sick person does stuff like that, and then at home try to treat me like dirt. Now I'm mad. Treat me like I say, like $200. I think 2024. Yeah, I asked him for $200 to get my hair and nails done. So, y'all, from time to time, I'll bring these things up again because, see, sometimes I think people don't go back and watch, but some do. So I could bring things up because, I want people to know exactly the things I've been through. In the house with my own husband, 40-something years we've been together. But most of the years he have cheated and lied, and I would always, hey, how you doing? I hope you all having a nice day. Cheating. Um, and like I told y'all before I married him, I said anytime I married, because see, I dated cheaters, so wasn't going through that. So I told him, I said, listen, anytime you want somebody else, you can have somebody else. I think a lot of times I didn't realize my calling at first. It took me years to realize my calling. When I say calling, I don't want to call it ministry, but my life that God had appointed for me to live on this earth. Um, the thing that I went through with him, like several times I started to walk away from him. Um, but even when my other kids was younger, which I should have, but I decided to stay. I stayed because God had me to stay, but then I stayed because I was trying to make sure I raised my kids with a father. Even though he wasn't a father, he put on the act in front of other people. He was not a father. He would act nice with other people, women, and their children, putting on air. That's all he did. Fake. He was fake he's fake right now. He's fake as hell. Like he this good father, just put on. All these people do is put on. And then they get home fight like cats and dogs. See, I had to stop him. Well, he would, go out and hang out with these trashy whores. And then he would come home and try to argue. I said, I told him, I said, listen, my mama went through this here. I'm not going through this. This is not my life. And my children, we going to live in peace. All he did was, like run to the church, stay to the church, stay to the church, stay to the church. Because he could do what he wanted over there. See, wasn't no rules there. You could just do, you could live one thing and do the other, you know. But, it's sad when people live like that. And, I saw that when I was younger. And to get in the church that's supposed to be apostolic, and then you see the same thing, it's sad. I can see it's a sad thing because so many people go to the church for help. No, I can't show my face right now because God told me to do it this way for right now. I will be, get a chance to show my face. It's a reason I don't show my face right now because a lot of things I'm being gain stalked. Not just gain stalked. I'm also, I have hits on my life. I have threats on my life. Well, they trying to kill me. Well, my husband and the group, he called himself sacrificing me to the group. He done told them he could sacrifice me. So I have hits and things on my life. So I can't show my face right now. Um, but at some point I will begin to show my face. Once God tell me to, then I'll start showing it. But I do want to say thank you for coming in. Thank you for joining and let you know I really honestly appreciate you coming in. Listen to my story. It's just not my story, y'all. It's other people's story as well. It's people, I have to speak out because they have put other people in jail, falsely accusing other people. They done dug up stuff, made up stuff on these other people. And then they have these corrupt lawyers and judges and power attorneys, district attorneys that's in the cult with them. So if you trace these people that's in the cult with them, that's doctors, nurses, all these different people at the bank, the morgue, all these, what you call them, funeral homes, people with insurance policies where they claim, on other people, they are fake people death and make false birth certificates. I mean, not death certificates, and sometimes they'll have babies, they'll harvest babies, have babies so they can sacrifice to that group. And a lot of people don't know all this stuff. People hear this stuff on TV and they'll call it conspiracy. No, y'all, it's not a conspiracy. It's true. CERM, that's true. The reason I'm saying these things because I have experienced certain things I can't talk about now, but I'll be able to talk about them later that I have experienced when it comes to porters and stuff. Porters are real. Um, Now the people don't, because they see, listen, y'all, they don't make these movies on TV for nothing. Y'all need to pay attention because they'll say, it's not true. Yeah, a lot of that stuff is true. You know, people stole other people ideas. Like with me, he have taken things out the house that don't belong to him. He've taken my things, and thrown away, gave them away. Stuff like this. They'll work witchcraft on you, be jealous. They jealous because they don't want you to have nothing. They want to press you for them to have all this stuff. He living large outside the house. But then, like when it come to me, he wouldn't give me not one single dime. So this is stuff, he was instructed to do this. And then he liked doing that because he think he made himself look like a man, but he made himself look like a fool. And, my sister, she was laughing about it. She thought it was funny, but see, she ain't seen her end yet neither. So, but this is what people don't understand. You could do stuff when God said enough is enough, and God said 2026, they will not make it past 2026. If they don't die, they will go to prison, and they're gonna end up dying in prison because they're not gonna be in no special cell and nothing like that. That's what they usually do. Put these lawyers and because they done put people in jail, but hell, they sworn in to uphold the law. But they didn't do that. But we supposed to put them in a special prison? Oh, hell no. They go in a regular prison with everybody else. They did the crime. They need to do the time. Like the young people, they like putting in the jail. And I'm going to say this again. They like putting these young people in jail so they can turn them into homosexual. They don't want you to have a family. They don't want, the system is set up. They don't want marriages. The system is set up to destroy marriage. I look at like Donald. How did he go in other people's marriages and sleep with their wives or sleep with their husbands? This is what he does. And then the ignorant women that deal with him, they just as stupid as he is. Why I'm going to let some nigga come in and destroy my marriage? Just because, you got to stay away from him because he worked witchcraft. That's how you get women. He worked witchcraft on them. Same way with Marie. That's how she get men. And other women, they get men, they think like this, when they saw him, thought he had money. Thought he, this real, but see, he was faking it. But he, started stealing. He was stealing from people. He was scamming people. His majors, he did all kind of scams, money laundering, life insurance scam. Fire scam, set houses on fire, set cars on fire, and get the money from all that, and real estate scam. I think they call it quick claim deed. I think that those are another ways of because God showed me that one day, the quick claim deed. I said it's a quick claim deed, where they go in and take other people's property, just like they try to set me up. They didn't put my name on some property. But even though I have other property where they try to hide in their trust. They steal. This is what they do. They steal, and they get these lawyers and judges and stuff. They'll get them to change the information. They sign off on it, and these people get your money, or they get your properties or whatever. This is what they do also. God have to reveal these things to you. You just don't come up with that. He has to reveal those things. And they'll go get land. Say for instance, let's say Michigan. They'll go get like a house in Michigan. They'll try to put my name on it, or whoever they trying to set up for their crime. They're gonna try to set somebody up. Just like he got stuff in my daughter's name. He did that to set her up to make her go down for crimes he committed. Him and Maurice committed, and other people that's with them that committed those crimes. Remember, like I said, they have babies to sacrifice the babies. Like the man said, well, as long as it ain't my baby, you could kill it. And then the point is this here, like a lot of men that's in these groups, that women get pregnant for them, the point is this here, you don't even know if it's a baby or not. It might be some other man because they all sleep around. They do those single parties or orgies or whatever. Everybody sleep with everybody. Who want to live like that? That's disgusting. That's some nasty stuff right there. Men sleep with men. They got the little, what they call it, AKG. Y'all know what PG. I can't think of. It's a gay community. He fooled with trans. So the trans person got mad with me because of all the lies that he told the trans person. And I don't even know this person. The people he deal with, I know some of the people from the church that we were in, the different churches we was in. He slept with all them, so, majority of them. So that's all he not do is sleep around because he nasty. And, pop out babies and don't take care of them. They get people to sign those, with the NDAs, with the company, they have service center. Nonprofit, they fund the money through nonprofit. It's a nonprofit where they pay the judges, the different ones, through that nonprofit. So that way, I guess they call it stuff where you can't trace the money, but the money is coming through the nonprofit. They pay people through that nonprofit. If they research it, they're going to find out that they paying them through that. They have to find a slick way to pay people. They deal with the PPP loan during that time, during the virus. They were just, scamming people. And see, everything with me, he was hiding everything. So God had to reveal what all he was doing. And I'm saying to him, okay, like, he come home with this nasty attitude. I said, oh, you must have had a hard time with your whole today. I said, oh, you must have had a good time. Come in joy, happy. Oh, I said, you must have had a good time with your whole today. Because this is what he would come home, raise hell, because his whole mad. All, his whole, whoever he fool with is mad. So he try to bring that home. I told him, don't bring that here. Don't bring that here. And then, going around, oh, she worked witchcraft. No, I don't work witchcraft. I've seen people hurt by witchcraft. I never even thought about doing no witchcraft. I've had people say, do this or do that. I said, that's actually witchcraft. But they were doing it to protect themselves. I don't kick people that does stuff. I don't want to say it's just a protection spell. But people that goes out use witchcraft to hurt other people, that's a whole nother thing. I don't like witchcraft, period. But if somebody have to protect themselves, that's their business. They're not hurting nobody else. So I don't mess with them because, they protect themselves. Especially when you have people, your own family member doing witchcraft on you because they're jealous, that's a whole nother thing. So she has to protect herself. But God, the position God put me in is that I'm the one that protects my children, my line, my family line. I protect them. Not just me, but my spiritual teams. I have spiritual teams. Right now I'm not going to go through the different types of teams that I have. And this is why I always tell people. God created light and darkness. God created the devil. And the devil, Lucifer, or however you want to, God created them. So they have to get permission from God to test you. I remember when I first started going through these different tests with him. It's been years, years. Even before I got saved, he was, you know, cheating and lying, unalive people, murder people. I'm not saying unalive, murder people. Some say for instance, something on him, he gonna kill you. If you got anything, any type of evidence on him, you better hurry up and turn it into the police or the FBI. But you got to be careful what police too, because they have corrupt cops he worked with. These people are very corrupt. So what I'm saying is this here: if this man is dangerous, people want to date him, let them date him. I don't care. That's why it didn't bother me because I knew. Stop, baby. I'm sorry, that's the cat, y'all. Yeah, that was the cat messing with my feet. I was trying to video. He didn't. I guess by my twiddling my feet down to the ground, he didn't grab it. But y'all just stay away from him. And who that other people that he's around, stay away from them people because these people are dangerous. They liars, like my sister lied and told my husband I was cheating on him, or however she put it, whatever it was a lie. If she lied to him and just so she lied to him to get him angry with me so she can seduce him. That's what she did. Because see, she that desperate. And like I said, she ain't just slept with my husband. She just slept with my other sister's man too. Husband or boyfriend. That's how nasty she is. Because see, she can't get nothing on her own. She have to use witchcraft, put stuff in their drink just to seduce them. Because they don't want her. They just look at her when they really see it like, ugh, But she thinks she all that. But see, I don't know how anybody could think they all that. They sleep with other, their sister's man. What the hell is that? Y'all, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard of. And like I said, I ain't treat her no different. Knowing everything I knew, same way with him. Knowing everything I knew, I just let him think I ain't know nothing, I just pretend just like I didn't even know anything. You know why? Because it doesn't matter. The reason I'm bringing this up because people need to know what kind of people out here. To come to go to that level as a sister or even a brother. I vice versa. Because same thing with brothers does the same thing. You just don't do that. You don't sleep through your whole family line. And that what it does is establish generational curses. Because see, she a witch. She don't want nobody to know she a witch. But she does spells. She go over to the water and do stuff too as well. Don't take nothing to drink from her, nothing to eat because she's putting stuff in it. So y'all stay away from this girl. What she did here, she called herself gonna try to turn everybody against me here. So she could do her little, witchcraft and all this other stuff. Call herself, see that's the same game Donna calls herself, isolate me from people. One of the things they don't understand with me, I don't have to be around people. When I say be around people, I don't have to have people right in my circle. I don't do that. I just spend time with people because, I spend time with people. But I'm good by myself. They try to send, like, I think it's, Robert. One of my classmates, I used to date years ago. They call themselves, they sent, what she do, she tell all your business to try to turn your man against you. See, she done put all that doubt in their head. Then next thing you know, she'll give them something to drink. Then next thing you know, because she got something in the drink. Then next thing you know, she in the bed with the man because, she can't do no better than that. Everything she fool with, she got to use witchcraft to get them. But, to me, it's kind of make me sick to my stomach, because I always thought, even knowing what I knew, I thought better of her than that, Not just my husband. She didn't sleep with other men that I dated. I didn't necessarily sleep with them. I dated. But she, I guess she thought I slept with him. But, each his own. That's her. She want to lay up with everything. Let her lay up with everything. No, she can just rub all she want. When God decides to throw that, throw judgment on you, that rubbers ain't going to help you. Number one, you doing fooling around with, number one, you're fooling around with your sister's husbands and boyfriends. The Bible tell you different, but you want to throw around the Bible when you ain't obeying nothing yourself. You want to talk about other people. That's why I told y'all. She's a narcissist too. She'll talk about everybody else, what they doing, but see, she was doing it. Oh, yeah, Beulah did this and Beulah did that. The same thing she was saying Beulah was doing, she was doing. But see, she was worse than Beulah because she was sleeping with her sister's husbands and boyfriends. That's make her worse than Beulah. See, Beulah do her thing out in the open. She sneaky with hers. Oh, but one of them, honey, they knew that she messed with their man. She will beat the hell out of her. She might shoot that hoe. That's why I ain't saying nothing. I'm going to keep it to myself. Because she thinks she's slick, but she ain't slick. What kind of trash you sleep in the house? And you going to go in the house and sleep in their bed. What kind of hoe is that? A hoe on top of hoes, But I'm going to leave that there. And I just want to, today mainly, I just want to tell people about, them. You got to stay away from them because they'll try to set you up. Especially, and this is why I was saying I make my videos. Because I want people to know, and then even when cases come up, that these are some of the things that have happened, is that they will set other people up, innocent people up. And I want these innocent people released. And I want these judges and lawyers and all locked, the DAs locked the hell up in the regular prison, not no federal special prison. Hell no. Let's send them monkeys to Angola, or what you call it, Alcatraz, Angola, somewhere where alligators, we could drop some more alligators, drop the, y'all know what I was, I said, off in there, and let them spend their time there. Let them spend life in prison. Not no 25 years. Oh, we're going to get them cut their time. Oh, hell no. We ain't cutting nothing. Ain't nobody cutting no time for none of these people. And I don't want to hear it. I'm telling y'all judges now that's presiding over that case, that's going to preside over that case, they going to get the full time because it's not fair to all the people that have served time because of them. And I'm standing up being a voice for those people that's locked up in prison now because of these people. Or the people that they done murdered. I'm standing up for them. The babies that they have sacrificed, I'm standing up for them. I'm standing up for the children that they have raped. That's who I'm standing up for. I'm standing up for the children that they have impregnated and just left them. That ain't my baby. A 14-year-old girl. What the hell is that? You just pure trash. Y'all people pure trash. You sleeping around with children, raping children, online, trying to target kids online. Y'all kidnap kids. Y'all kidnap kids to traffic. Y'all kidnap kids and rape them. Y'all want the kids to be fearful so y'all can do what y'all want to them. You take the kids innocent, boys and girls. But then you got these people that judges and lawyers and governors and senators and representatives. Yes, I said and mayors, councilwomen, councilmen. I'm talking about people in position. Yeah, just like with me right now. People in high position in Congress. That's targeting me. I'm not being quiet. Y'all ain't shutting me up. I don't care what y'all do, what y'all say. And Leon Musk, you part of a whole lot of stuff going on. When it comes to experiments and stuff, you don't have no right to pay for nothing for me. Or none of the rest of y'all. Y'all don't tell me what to do. God chose me, not y'all. I'm not like Donald that would take money to do anything because he's stupid. He got a low IQ. He's stupid and got a low IQ. Because people with low IQs act like that. Because, see, they don't even know who they are. He don't know whether he a man or woman, but he got a penis, but he's confused. He like butt. But he act like he like, yeah, vagina. This is some of the stuff. How y'all doing today? This is some of the stuff. Let me stop and think. I want to thank everybody that have come in, that have liked and subscribed, and join my channel and follow me. Follow me on Facebook, follow me on TikTok. I'm actually on TikTok too. And Instagram. Go over there and follow me. They've been my TikTok, they've been what you call they've been fooling my subscribers for years because a couple of days ago I looked on it. I had 50 people actually join to follow me, right? But the reflection of the number of people following me was less than it was before the 50 joined. So they are bothering my each one of my platforms. They are fooling with those, but I will file a lawsuit against them for that too. I'm gonna file a lawsuit against them for blocking things on Facebook, for fooling my YouTube channel, my TikTok channel. I don't be on Instagram that much, but I'm trying to move to all my platforms, or try to get away. Once I finish doing what I'm doing here, I'm gonna be able to connect to all of those different sites, platforms. I'm in I'm in the process of making major changes right now. So this is the reason too I don't show my face, because the reason mainly God said not to. It's not time yet. So when at God time, and then I'll be out here showing my face, because there's some things once I'm out here, there's some things I want to share and to show y'all. But I have to wait until God said it's okay, because I have to stay safe, y'all. Because like I told y'all, I have hitmen. They have hired hitmen to take me out. They're trying to come up with an event right now. I think like his husband and wife did. They hiding it. People dead and they hiding it. Because they don't want me to know they did. A lot of corrupt stuff they did. They changed. Oh no, I think I told y'all they changed people wills. People inheritance. They'll change that. And I've seen stories on TV about it. It's not a story, but it's actually true. But I'm just saying it's a story where they change people inheritance, where the lawyers, they get together, judge, all of them get together, they change, all of them get money out of it. So that's why they do that, because they greedy. They make money, but they still greedy. A judge get paid, but they still going to charge you fee, and they're going to get kickback from that. They get kickback from everything, just like the medical field. Let me tell you something. During the virus, it was a mess. Because everybody was getting money off of everybody. Because they don't care about human beings. They do not care. You got a lot of these nurses and doctors don't care nothing about human beings. But yet they took an oath to, preserve life. But they believe in murdering people for money. Because a lot of that stuff during the virus was murder. And I was saying that during the virus. And, and people just did what they wanted to do. Guess what? A lot of them did because they didn't listen to the warning of God. Go back on some of my Facebook pages, YouTube, where I was telling the people, do not take those shots. A lot of times they blocked a lot of my information I put out there during the virus because it was true. And like I tell people, the virus was not, nobody can tell you, oh, you're going to have virus in November. That's a lie. Viruses don't work like that. This was released. They deliberately released that virus to try to mess up President Trump run in 2020. They did that. Nancy Pelosi know about it. Chuck Schumer know about it. I will not take it back, baby. Let me tell y'all something. One thing about me, when I say something, God done told me to say it. People didn't catch a clue. Nancy Pelosi was on live TV. And she said something. I'm going to leave that there because, see, I'm going to use that later on. But they will pay for releasing that virus. They wanted to mainly blame China, but see, they was just as much involved. the people in Congress, Democrats in Congress, some rhinos. Rhinos are, let me tell y'all about rhinos. Rhinos, what's this guy's name? Mitch McConnell is a good example of a rhino. He's not a Republican. He is a Democrat that acts like he's a Republican. You all should be able to pick out the rhinos from the Republicans. And I'm going to say this too. I'm not about Republican. I'm not about Democrat. I'm not about independent. What I'm about what's for the people of the United States. Now, if I was living in your country, I'll be for the people in your country. Because that's the way I am. Like you say, make America great again. Hey, let's make all the countries great again. Let's get rid of these leaders that don't want to help the people, don't want to stand up for the people. We don't need them in office. In the United States, we don't need all these, like this man and mayor in, mayor in New York. We don't need him. We don't need Omar. We don't need Shahida Hart or whatever her name is. These people they shouldn't have never got in Congress. Only people that was born in the United States should be able to hold a position in Congress because they don't care nothing about the U.S. citizens. Look, Omar. All she worried about Somalia. We not no Somalian. This U.S. citizen. Look how they robbed and under her, how they done robbed the U.S. citizen. But she's supposed to be the mayor. The woman in Congress. But see, she was holding office before she got in Congress in her area. She didn't win that position. They didn't win those positions. They installed them in those positions. So when people tell me they win, no, they did not win. I don't care what y'all say. I know what I'm talking about. God can see what y'all can't see. This is something they're using to try to take over the United States. But it ain't going to happen. I don't care what kind of office they get in. They all going to be removed. I said what I said, and I'm not going to take it back. Because they don't have the U.S. citizens. And we're not a Muslim country. Y'all want y'all Muslim laws? Go back to over there where y'all came from. This is the United States of America. I don't care if y'all say whatever you want to say about me. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. Y'all come here. Y'all want to bring all y'all laws and all this other field. Y'all take that back to your country. I'm not being prejudiced. I'm just speaking truth. We're not dealing with all this crap. Just like these stage shootings. That stuff staged. A lot of this stuff is staged. They do a whole lot of stuff. A lot of times you think people dead, they ain't even dead. They stage it to start all this confusion. Because see, I pay attention. I don't even watch the news like talking about. Some come across my phone. And I can discern whether it's real or not. So I don't worry myself about all that stuff because a lot of stuff out here is fake. And how people people in fear. Oh, let's get the white man. Let's get the white man. These are black people. Let's get the white man. Let's get the white man. For what? Look how many black people kill each other every day. Oh, injustice. Well, where's their justice? Just like they went to Noah and Wales. It's other people got killed. You ain't hear nothing about those people. Because see, it didn't fit in their box it didn't fit in their setup. It's more to that case. Pay attention. Stop running with stuff. Get the whole evidence. Get the whole truth. Don't listen to all this stuff. Anything Al Sharpner joined, it's a scam. I'm telling you now. Anything Al Sharpner, it's a scam. When I say it's a scam, it's a way for other people to make money off of somebody. So y'all got to be careful because a lot of things are staged. There are stage events. My sister Ned didn't know about stage events. Okay, listen, y'all. I'm not going to talk too long, but I'm just saying, y'all stay away from Donald. He live in Jetersville, Virginia. He lives somewhere in Virginia. He might be, ain't no tell he be everywhere because he like to he like to get on the internet and sleep with different people. Y'all, if y'all see me on any dating site with my name and thing or picture, y'all let me know because I'm not on no dating site. I don't get on those sites. Fan only fan, whatever. They said different dating sites. I don't do that. I don't get on dating apps. I never did. I'm 67 years old. I never did. I believe in old-fashioned dating. See, I'm 67. I've been, in a dead-end marriage for 40-something years. Because he's been dead to the marriage the whole time. But I had kids. So I was trying to keep a structure home for my kids. But when my last son, his name is Jeremiah. He's 22 years old. He has autism. I found out he had that at the age of 3 years old. And from that point, I started working with him then. And he's amazing, very amazing, very compassionate, very protective. He's protective of his mom, y'all. He protects his mom. He had to protect his mom from his dad. He had to stand up to his dad. I don't teach my children to, be disrespectful. But God had to teach me he wasn't being disrespectful. He's protecting you from this man. He could see something about this man you can't see. So my son, he was there for me, protecting me from this beast of a man, a whore. People call him, that's right. They sell they poo-poo pom-pom. Y'all know what I mean. I just said poo-poo pom-pom, but they sell their body parts. What the funny part, y'all, he had to call himself fooling with a stripper. I guess that's what you call him, stripper. I think he got her pregnant or something. Or it may not even be his baby. They stripper, whatever they call it, I don't know. Swingers and strippers. Strippers, no, actual stripper. Like a strip club. That's where we met the stripper at. Some club. And he like pouring. And let me tell you something. Y'all, we was married. This man ain't never wanted to really party. So I don't know, maybe I wasn't, his kind, I guess not. I just thought of, the stripper. Now, this is how low he goes. You got a wife at home, children. You go around looking for strippers. Or anybody. He'll do a homeless person. He don't care. That's where people are when they get off. He on drugs. He's talking about I was on drugs, I was drinking and, selling myself and having sex with different people. No, I would never do that. Because I honor my body too much for that. Just like drinking, I won't put no alcohol in my body, period. Drugs, neither. Like I said before, I don't even, it has to be, I've learned how to, like anything pertaining to my body, I've learned how to heal my body. And that's what I do. God taught me how to heal my body. Because I am a healer. And, people tell me that years and years ago. And I was like, a healer. I always hear people preaching about healing people. A lot of stuff was fake. But that's who I am. I'm a healer. I'm more than just that, but that's a major thing, too, with me. But I had to, God had to take me through things, heal me, poison, heal from that. I'm supposed to be dead. But God, did everything they can, to kill me. But God. Because I'm a good person. I'm a person, I'm going to deal with you honest. I'm going to deal with you upright. I'm not going to be underhanding you, backdooring you and all that stuff. But he that kind of person. The people he hang around are them kind of people. Because they don't have no heart. They're wicked as hell. Turn your children against you, turn your family members against you. All the time they doing this behind your back and God giving you hints. But you trying to think better of that person. And then, like other people that he done cheated with, he cheated with them. I didn't treat them no different. Because you know what? I said that's their judgment. They cursed themselves. The day that they decide to sleep with my husband, they cursed themselves. They cursed their children. And they wonder why certain things happen in the family or the kids or somebody end up dead. That's because you ain't have no business dealing with nobody else's husband. Or nobody else's wife, vice versa. That's their husband, wife. You had yours, you should have stayed with yours. Instead of trying to have yours and have mine too, Well, he ain't my husband. That was the devil. And still the devil. That was just a piece of paper to him. It didn't mean nothing to him. Not nothing at all. Even his children didn't mean nothing to him neither because he wasn't there for his kids like he should have been as a father. He was too busy running, dingalings and booties. Dingaling booties and hoes. Hoes. One can't keep the legs closed. But, it's funny. But like I said, the main thing I got on here to tell you all, y'all stay away from this person. Stay away from him. And I don't, the things that he said about me, I don't care, really. Because the reason I don't care, because I know all of it is a lie. Or if you tell him something, he'll twist it. Because a lot of times I've heard him say something, and I'm looking like, I said, I didn't say that. Well, the type of person he is, you can't tell him, no, I did not say that. He gonna argue you down. So, I just learned, no, Joe, don't say nothing. Just say what you say and close it off, walk off. And that's what I had to start learning to do, just walk off. Because everything was an argument, because, see, he want to hide what he was doing, which I thought, he knew I knew, because I would tell him. When I tell you come in, I say, oh, you must have been with your hoe, you happy. Or, oh, you mad because you and her and got into it, so you trying to bring that home. So he never did deceive me. I knew exactly what he was doing, but that's his body. Them demons was so bad on him, y'all, I had to move to my own room. That's how bad the demons on him. Because, see, he was dealing with all these different people. So he was bringing them demons from them. He got all that stuff in his body because he didn't slept with all these people. He tied up to all these people. Say, for instance, he got a woman that he was fooling with. Okay, she killed her because she got pregnant or want to tell on him. I'm going to tell your wife, or I'm going to tell this person, or tell that. He going to kill him. So he didn't already tangle himself that person. Guess what? He still tangled that person, even though they dead. Because he still got that bond there. That same demon that was in her, or him or whatever, that same demon's still there. Because he never cut himself loose from that. And he can't. Just like all them people he done killed. Or they done killed. All these people. All the people anybody that killed somebody. Those spirits going to haunt those people. Well, no, yes, they do. Oh, yes, they do. Because these people want justice. And they're going to get justice this year. People going to get justice this year. They're going to get justice next year. But what's going to happen, see, the people going to be put in prison. They're going to be brought up on charges for unaliving these people. And, they didn't call themselves, grinding up the bodies or cutting up the bodies, burn them, burn, cut up, however you go, burying bodies. When I say they don't, you may catch some of them may be buried whole. I don't see any buried whole, really whole, unless they in a hurry. Unless, something happened and they got to do it fast. I was talking a while back about how my Donna had brought home this stuff one day. And he told me, he said, don't touch it. He said, it'll eat your hand off. I said, why would you buy something? Oh, I was using on the truck tire. And I'm in my mind, hell, if it burn people, eat them up like that, why in the hell you would put that on the tire? In my mind, this is what I'm thinking. This is the craziest mess. And that's what I'm saying in my mind. This is the craziest mess I've ever heard. We got children around here, and you got stupid stuff like that around here. And that's what I told him one time. I said, we got kids. Those kids go in the shed. Oh, don't touch nothing in the shed. You didn't even protect your own kids. Why would you bring something around unsafe for the kids? Take it to the goddamn woods where you do everything else at, in the woods. At your time, they cut up the bodies. Or they'll burn them, then they grind them. Grind what they can grind. So, this is stuff they do. But guess what? They have not gotten away with it. They think they have. They haven't gotten away with it. But y'all, listen, I'm not going to get on that. I'm going to get off of here because I didn't intend on staying on here a whole hour. It's almost an hour now. But listen, the day is sad that you all enjoy your family. Make your family first, okay? And have a beautiful day, all right?